It's Most Things Kenobi, an elegant podcast for a more civilized fandom.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Most Things Kenobi, a podcast about Obi-Wan Kenobi and all things Star Wars. I'm your host, Lauren.
And I'm your host, Leanne.
And this week we are paying homage to James Earl Jones, long overdue and sadly not done before his passing.
But you know what? We are now remembering him in totality.
Yes.
You know, we lost a great one, but he lived, like you said before we started recording, he lived a long and very fruitful life.
Yeah.
His list of accomplishments just are astounding. Astounding.
It's crazy how many movies and TV shows and commercials, which I totally forgot about,
In
this
theater.
man did.
Theater.
Yes.
Actually, he went back to theater recently, like within the last 10 years.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's fantastic. Well, he went to Broadway, actually. I mean,
Yeah.
the theater, if you will.
Yeah.
We all know him for the iconic voice of one, Darth Vader. But
Of course.
his talents span the full gamut. And he's been recognized appropriately for his works in everything from the ground up, as far as like his beginning theater roles to film and commercial and animations.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot to discuss. So let's dive in.
Where do we even begin?
Well, for me personally, I mean, of course, Star Wars, because we're a Star Wars podcast, but I was actually introduced to him before I was even aware of Star Wars. My family loved the movie Field of Dreams.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And we watched it all the time. I could probably quote that whole movie. And James Earl Jones, particularly in that, is so great. He plays a writer who was a pacifist in the 1960s and 70s and was kind of an activist. And then he went underground and stopped writing and stopped producing work. And he's so cynical and cranky. And Kevin Costner's character goes to find him, and their interactions are so uncomfortable and fantastic. It's
very
so fun. And to me, James Earl Jones will always be Terrence Mann.
Yeah.
That's
a
where
beloved,
I first...
It's a beloved film. I mean, I can name anyone and they've at least seen it once. You know, it's one of those films that pretty much stands the test of time, you know?
Kind of, but also it's super weird. I never thought of it as weird ever until I introduced my boyfriend to it a few years ago, and he was like, this plot makes no sense.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that. It's just one of those iconic films that people often reminisce about. Not necessarily, you know, for anything that makes sense. It's just, first of all, the whole premise is nonsensical. Okay?
Absolutely, yes. Plow over a field of corn to build a baseball field so that the ghosts of the Chicago Blacks, well, they call them the Black Sox, the White Sox, can come back and play baseball in this cornfield. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, if you build it, they will come. Isn't that the thing? And they did. So, you know, wow. Yeah. Death. There's a lot of death. And spirituality and weirdness.
It's filmed 2.5 hours from where I grew up. It's filmed in a town my family went to on vacation every single summer.
Nice.
It's very sentimental to me, but every man I know cries watching that movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know at least one of my friends who said that film makes him emotional, but he's a sports fan. He's a huge baseball fan.
Yeah.
And
it's all the father-son
Oh, sure.
relationship and the having catch with your dad. And it's just...
it's very Americana.
Yes, yeah. And then throw James Earl Jones in there as a like paternal, kind of cranky paternal figure, and it is pure gold.
Well, it was also like Kevin Costner's heyday, too.
Yes. He was in everything at that
wa-
time.
In that time period, he was a fixture in movies. And I don't
He
really know
really
that
was,
anyone complained. Because
No, I think he was... Yeah,
he's beloved
he was
as
doing
well.
Yeah. And he's making a comeback.
Is he?
Yeah, like he just released... oh gosh, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a 3-part film. He's directing again, and yeah, it's...
Okay, well, I was unaware.
I think when he did Waterworld and The Postman, that kind of like after that, Kevin Costner kind of like went quiet for a while, and now
As he
he's
should.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were
Waterworld
truly
was-
painful. Holy.
But this
It
is
was
not about
missing-
Kevin Costner. Sorry.
What was your first James Earl Jones movie?
The Lion King.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
He
of
voices
course.
Simba's dad, Mufasa. So, I mean, I was in like 5th or 6th grade at the time. And I didn't get into
Yeah.
Star Wars until probably 8th grade. And
Yeah, same.
by that point, I didn't put the two together. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
Names,
No, I had no idea. Yeah.
none of that makes any sense to you. You're just enamored with whatever. And the thing is that James Earl Jones was not technically credited on the first 2 Star Wars movies because
Right.
he was voicing over.
And he talked about himself as a special effect.
Yeah. And then by the 3rd movie, Return of the Jedi, he's like, okay, I'm partial to this. You can add me to the list, as he should have been.
I know he didn't want the credit. He had said that he didn't
Yeah.
need it, didn't want it, but
Yeah.
he deserves it because, like, we have to talk about Vader, of course. 'Cause
Of course. Well, before we get there, did you know this is the foundation of everything that blows me away about James Earl Jones, that he grew up, his earliest years, he had a stutter.
Yes, which just blows my mind because his voice is so iconic.
I know. And through writing and poetry and eventual good counsel of teachers, he overcame that and became the voice. Period. That is it. I just think it's amazing that he had such a humble beginning with his own voice.
Yeah,
Truly.
He said he didn't speak from the age. I've heard 2 different ages, 6 or 8, but like 6 to 14. He said he was basically mute, where he wouldn't
Yeah.
speak because the stutter was so uncomfortable. But also, he said it was painful,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that meant physically or psychologically, but either way,
Probably both.
I saw this beautiful little snippet of an interview with him where he was talking about the teacher that had him read his own poetry in front of the class, and that's what gave him his voice back. And he was saying how it made him realize he had a right to have a voice,
Yes.
to have a connection with his own words and his own form of expression. And I was just, every time I see him interviewed, I could listen to him for hours. He's
Me
so
too.
poetic, even in just the way that he speaks. It's really beautiful.
He's a presence through and through, like you said, in an interview as himself, or
Yeah.
doing anything that he's done on screen or off screen. The fact that he had such a terrible speech impediment that really impeded his daily life, the true meaning of I think it's wonderful that he overcame it through such a beautiful means, and then went on to be known for his voice. I don't know. I think it's really beautiful. I hope he understood how much he meant to people.
I think he did, but I'm like all the Star Wars actors from that period. I saw him tell a story where he gave I think it was a commencement speech, and he said he should have just said it in Vader's voice, and the kids would have listened more closely.
Or they would have run. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's crazy. I don't know. It's just, I respect the hell out of him. I really do. He's such an inspiration.
He really is. He brings a warmth to almost
Yes.
even even if he's being kind of a ball buster, because I saw a movie. This is a very bizarre movie, and I don't even know why I watched it. It was one of those, like, I started it at 1 a.m. and just randomly picked something off Netflix.
Oh, okay.
And he was I think it was a Taekwondo coach.
Oh, okay.
Of all things. I gotta find the name of this movie. He was excellent in it. And I have no interest in Taekwondo. I don't care at all about martial arts. I mean, I think it's bad, but like, I don't go out of my way to watch movies about, Brazilian jiu-jitsu or
Right.
anything like that.
Sure.
So. But that's how good he is. He pulled me into the story. He was really engaging, and he's just awesome in everything he's in, and he's so captivating.
Have you ever watched any of him speaking or doing any of the Shakespeare pieces?
Yeah, his Othello.
Yeah, I know.
Incredible.
It's so good. I could listen to him. Not just like close your eyes and listen, but watch and listen.
Yeah.
Be engaged with the speaker
Yeah.
on stage. And that is rare. I mean, that is a true talent to have presence like that. And this is taking Vader out of it completely.
Yeah. Because you can't see him at all with that. Like, that's all gone.
No.
With that. And so when that's something special, I think, about Shakespeare. Mm-hmm. And I love watching actors do Shakespeare. There's a big Shakespeare theater here in Chicago, and they took us when I was very young as a field trip. It was so cool because they did a little presentation for us before, and then we watched, I think it was As You Like It, which I had never read at the time. And they were like, just so you all know, you people in the front row might get spit on.
Oh! Fair warning.
Yeah, they're like, Shakespeare done well produces a lot of saliva, and you'll like see it spray out when people are talking. They were not kidding.
Wow, that's cool. I didn't know that.
To see Shakespeare live is very different than watching a movie, and if you've never seen it, I highly recommend it. But him in Othello, I think he actually met his wife while he was playing Othello.
Yeah. His second wife, yes?
Yes, I think it's Cecilia Hart. Yeah.
And she died before he did, so she passed a number of years
ago. A while ago. Yeah, I think it was 2016 or something.
I think that's so nice. Can you imagine meeting in theater? Oh God, that's romantic.
It is so romantic.
Over Othello, though. I don't know about Othello, but
I was gonna say that story is not weird. Romantic.
No. But I mean, what must have gone on, because the people in a musical or play or theater production are all so close.
Yeah. And you're watching, like, right up close in people's faces, them be creative. Mm-hmm. Like, it's revealed before your very eyes. And that must be a very intense experience to have and realize that you're actually, like, in love with one of your co-stars for real. Yeah. And they were together a long time. It was like, what year did they meet? I think I have it here. Yeah, 1982 to 2016. So that's a very long time.
Yes. Yeah.
You know another movie of his I love that I always forget he's in?
What?
Is The Sandlot.
Oh yeah, The Sandlot. Listen, I hate that kid in Sandlot. You know the kid, right?
Smalls.
Yeah, Smalls.
You're killing me, Smalls.
You're killing me, Smalls. But he drives me nuts. It makes it hard for me to watch that movie. But you're right, The Sandlot. Yep.
As an adult, I realized it's one of those kids' movies where they just scream the whole time.
Also another reason why I can't watch it on repeat.
It wears me down, but I did love that movie as a kid. It's really
actually
fun.
Accurate because kids scream everything all the time. They just can't not scream. So
also, if you ever watch the Jack Ryan movies, he's so great in his. He has a small role in those movies. It's like, I think it's Hunt for Red October, Patriot Games, and Clear and Present Danger. He has a small part in. I think he's in Patriot Games. He might not be in that one, but whatever.
I've seen these, but it's hard for me to remember.
They're
I'm not sure.
such classic 1990s action movies.
Right.
And the thing that's great about Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger is that Harrison Ford and James Earl Jones playing opposite each other in a lot of scenes, and it's Han Solo and Darth Vader.
Yeah, well,
I just can't not see that now.
James Earl Jones was a part of, let me see, he was a part of the Comedians, which he was working alongside Richard Burton, Liz Taylor, and Alec Guinness. So
No way.
Obi-Wan
Oh my
and
gosh.
Darth Vader. There we go. Actually, it's called The Comedians, which is quite appropriate because those two, Anakin and Obi-Wan, are
I was going
literal-
to say, none of those actors are comedic actors. What
No.
the hell?
Jones plays a surgeon and Haitian rebel leader. So I'm not entirely sure. I have not seen it. This was back in the 60s. So
Maybe it's not a real comedy. That doesn't sound like it would be
No.
a comedy at all.
Liz Taylor, though. I mean, that's
Yeah. She's,
legends.
Yeah. And she was married to Burton, wasn't she? If not, they were having an affair. But yeah.
It says here The Comedians is a 1967 American political drama film.
Yeah, I was going to say,
So
that
there.
didn't sound funny. And I always forget that he's in Doctor Strangelove.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Strangelove, yep. Stanley Kubrick.
I haven't seen that since college, so it's been a long time. But I remember loving that movie, and it's even better if you watch it with an audience. It was one of the films we watched in one of my film study classes.
So
and
did
would have to.
That's
Did
literally,
you?
Yep.
Yeah, and it was like we would go on Wednesdays to a huge auditorium and watch it, and
That's
like
what we did.
everyone was just dying laughing. It was so funny.
See, you and I would have been in class together. Even if we
We
didn't
would
know
have.
each other, we would have taken the same classes together. At least the fun ones, not the science, math I had to do. But
Oh my god. I had to do those too, but I did not want to do them because I didn't do a language. I had to do science. So I chose geology, which was like the quote, easy science.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the good one. Yeah.
It was fun, and it got very difficult in the like. There was a class I took. This is such a side tangent, but I had to take a class for majors, and I had to drop it. It was chemistry and physics at like an advanced level, and I'm like, I'm a film student. Like, what am I doing here?
I understand my limits.
Yeah, it's like I like geology, but this is well beyond what I want to do. So, anywho,
He actually received the National Medal of the Arts by President George W. Bush. George H.
Oh, really?
W. Bush. Yeah.
interesting. He won a lot of awards.
He's considered, there's an acronym, an ECOT, ERCOT? No, it's EGOT. EGOT, for having, he's one of the very few that has achieved an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony.
Yes, yeah.
EGOT.
That's pretty. I'm curious, what did he win a Grammy for? Because I've heard that mentioned, and I have no idea what that would be for.
He received a Grammy Award for Best Spoken Word Album for Great American Documents.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that makes sense.
That would make sense. 1977.
That's awesome. The 60s and 70s, there was this weird trend of spoken word albums.
Right. Yes. Which I'm here for because of his voice.
I think Leonard Nimoy did one.
Did he really?
Can you imagine how bizarre that would be?
That would be amazing. We need to look this up. I'm curious.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
Yeah. I'm sure we can find it out there somewhere.
I could read off everything that he's won and been awarded with, but we'd be here for 4 hours. He's that accomplished.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, Emmys after Oscars after, and of course nominations, not just winnings, but nominations as well.
Right.
It goes
right.
on and on and on, of no surprise. And going back to Star Wars, which we need to talk about.
We do.
He gave the rights to digitally create his voice for as long as they need to. So, okay, Tarkin, let's go. Try and follow suit.
Please.
What's his name? I can't.
Peter Cushing.
Listen, Peter. You're the number 2 to Darth Vader. Just please follow in suit with the kindness and generosity that James Earl Jones has bestowed to let us have his voice. I guess that was how it was created for the Kenobi show as well. It was a rendering.
It sounded like that to me, honestly. It didn't sound completely like...
Right. Organic.
Yes, yeah. That, and I would say, what else was he in more recently? I guess it would be Rogue One?
Uh-huh.
I wasn't sure it was, not a rendering for Rogue One as well.
I don't think it was, though. Yeah, I think this just recently happened. And they...
What other Star Wars thing did he give his voice to recently? Wasn't there something other than Obi-Wan? I'm totally blanking right now. I'm trying to remember.
Well, so am I. I don't know. There's so many things. Who can...
I know. I've lost track of my own fandom.
Is it any of the animations? The other animations?
Maybe. Oh, God, though, I have no idea because I have not been keeping up. Anyway, yeah, we should probably dive into Star Wars because this is a Star Wars podcast.
Well, this is the penultimate. I mean, this is why we're all here, right? Because, I don't know. I keep wanting to say iconic because it is.
Look, David Prowse made Vader as well. We can't deny that. But if you've ever watched the footage of him delivering the lines...
Yeah, no, there's a reason why they didn't.
Yes. I mean, it's just like he's stumbling over the words and he's just trying to get it out while flailing his arms. And it's physically he's there.
Yes.
But then you add this voice and it's like there is no comparison. Without James Earl Jones, you really will never get... it can't be anyone else, honestly.
Truly. And I love that it's inspired by the helmet because we only knew Vader in the helmet, right, until the scene in Return of the Jedi. But then prior to that, we have a lot more material, if you will, of Vader and that sort of thing. But to me, I thought one of the coolest moments was in the Kenobi show, in that final duel between Kenobi and Vader, but his helmet is sawed off and it's the back and forth blending of James Earl Jones' voice and Hayden Christensen's voice. And it's like the helmet's flickering. Like it.
Yes.
And it's almost like Anakin's flickering in and out of that character. But it's the mechanism in the helmet that's supposed to be making that voice, right?
Right.
I thought it was brilliant because the symbolism in there's 2 individuals. There's 2 entities fighting for control, if you will, in their soul. But James Earl Jones is that's his voice in a helmet, and the fact that it makes it scarier, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Because outside of that, every other example we have of Vader is of the Anakin sort.
Right.
And the various actors who have voiced him. But only one voice comes out of that helmet, and it's James Earl Jones. And it's the menacing, dark, it just menacing. Scary. He's scary. He scares the out of me, and I love it. I only want that voice coming down the hallway killing people. And he didn't even speak. But if he had, it would have been even worse and even scarier.
It's just not the same. The Star Wars audio dramas, they have Mark Hamill, and that's pretty much, and I guess, oh my God, I'm totally blanking on who plays Lando. What happened to my brain? What is his name? What happened to my brain? I literally can't remember his name. D something. Billy D. Williams. Holy
There's D. Bradley Baker and Billy D. Williams. And I knew it was a triple, and I was like...
yeah. That was rough. My poor brain has had a day. So it's just the cast is any members from the original cast is Mark Hamill, Billy D. Williams, and Anthony Daniels. But the voice of Vader is played by Brock Peters, who is actually he plays Tom in To Kill a Mockingbird for anyone who's seen that movie from the 60s. And though he's great, it's not the same. It's just it doesn't have, I think, the groundedness that James Earl Jones brings to it, because he brings scary and angry, and you can see his rage come up, like when he screams, like, if this is a counselorship, where is the ambassador? Like, I love his vocal inflection in that moment. But he's also very stable and steady and grounded, and I just believe that character is totally fine with how he is. You know what I mean? Like, he knows he's powerful. He's not second guessing himself at all. There's no self-consciousness in it. And that's all portrayed vocally. And then he's got this great story about when they did Empire Strikes Back, he was trying to do even better. And George Lucas was like, it's not quite working. And I think because Vader is, you never see his face. He's a machine, basically. They told him to have, like, bring his vocal range down to he called it a narrow band. Yeah. So that he's not going too far into any emotion in any direction, because they want him to seem inhuman.
Right.
And I just think that's so brilliant. Imagine getting that feedback, and now you have to portray that. Like, where do you even start?
I don't know, and that's why they're so good at what they do.
Yeah. It's incredible. It's just so brilliant. It's brilliant direction.
It is.
Truly. And it's just a brilliant performance, because by all the way to the end, like, think of the range that character's gone through in A New Hope. He's just like a faceless terror. In Empire Strikes Back, he seems really sinister because you're not sure what his motivations are. And by Return of the Jedi, you kind of have to believe that he's completing the circle, that he's starting to have little cracks because Luke is trying to get to him, and like we always say with voice actors, how do they do it without getting to use their physical bodies? Like, it's all inflection. It's just so mind-blowing to me.
If I were to ask you what's your favorite Darth Vader line as delivered by James Earl Jones, could you come up with just one?
The one I'm going to bring up is probably nobody's favorite ever. I mean, I have a lot. I love when he says, a sister, you have a sister.
Oh, yeah.
And the way he says it, it's just like, you can tell he's smiling. You're just like, oh, I remember feeling so scared as a kid when he said that, and I'm like, oh my God, like, not only is Luke in danger, but now Leia is also in danger. She's not even here.
Nope.
Yeah, I loved that. That's the one that comes to mind first.
That's a pretty good one.
I have another one, so you go ahead and then
tell me. No, go ahead.
I love I find your lack of faith disturbing, because I just adore that scene.
The whole thing, that's right up there. I mean,
bickering in a conference room, strangling someone, and Tarkin is like, could you please let him go?
Yes.
What is yours?
Well, I really, really like the be careful not to choke on your aspirations, because
me too. It's so good.
I mean, I can literally see Anakin in there doing that and thinking he really killed it. He like really killed it with Krennic.
Got him.
Like mic drop, Yeah,
exactly.
But I really think that if I were to, it's hard because there's the, no, I am your father, which is
right.
Also mic drop moment. But I think it's the one that I really enjoy the delivery of is, but you are not a Jedi yet, when he's talking to Luke.
Oh, yes.
Taunting.
Oh my God. I love that scene.
Yeah. So I think that's like my favorite, like, overall encompassing.
Yeah.
Because
then you're like, ooh, maybe this is not gonna go well.
Yeah. I mean, he's literally taunting and dangling it right in front of Luke, so to speak. Yeah. But snatches it away. But you are not a Jedi yet. And it's the way he delivers it. It's a little playful, but not, because it's playful in that dark way.
Yes, yeah, it is. Again, you can kind of tell he's kind of getting a dark pleasure out of that moment.
For sure.
I also just love the technique of the way he says yet and like makes the hard T at the end.
Yeah,
so
like
good.
he knows something, and you better watch out.
Yeah. That whole interaction.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Like, basically, that whole fight on Bespin is so great. Because just those little... He's just toying with him. He's just with Luke the entire time.
But when he falls down the stairs, he's like, whoa! His cape like flies. That part like totally undermines everything because it's so like, whoa! He's an old man with metal legs.
He cannot catch himself.
No. That cracks me up only for personal reasons.
Oh, man. I will say my least favorite line, though, is the no.
No!
I really hope they didn't make James Earl Jones record that.
I hope not.
I hope it's fake.
Blah. Blah. What was your other line? Did you say it?
Yeah, it was the I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Oh. Yeah. Iconic. Yep.
I also really like when he goes, "What?"
That's a good one too. Yeah, it's the delivery.
Yeah, it is. It's so funny.
Helmet.
There's a great moment, which I think it's really just David Prowse, but you can tell, like, Vader, like, David Prowse couldn't tell how close he was to somebody.
Yeah, right.
And he turns.
Right.
Like, say his line.
Right in his face.
Right. Yeah.
It works, though. It works, though, because...
It does. Vader would totally be in your personal space and not give any
Not zero given. Zero. So, to close out this episode, I mean, we would need, like, 4 weeks of episodes to really... really honor every single aspect of James Earl Jones's life. But just remembering his presence in these movies and these shows and on Broadway and listening to him and just enjoying what he's brought to us here in the Star Wars world is everything. But we'll end the episode with a quote from George Lucas himself, which was in a statement that was released following when James Earl Jones passed, which was on September 9th of 2024. He said... quote, well, he called Jones, quote, an incredible actor and a most unique voice, both in art and spirit. For nearly half a century, he was Darth Vader, but the secret to it all is that he was a beautiful human being. He gave depth, sincerity, and meaning to all of his roles, amongst the most important being a devoted husband to the late Cece and dad to Flynn. James will be missed by so many of us, friends and fans alike.
That's so beautiful.
From the man himself, right?
Yeah.
He summed it up.
I love that he pointed out what a, like, devoted family man he was. Because he, even in certain interviews, he would find ways to bring up his son.
Yeah.
And talk about his child in interviews, because you could tell he really cared and loved him.
You know, he's Darth Vader to us and all these other actors, but he was a husband and a dad and a friend and a good actor with a most unique voice in art and spirit. So our question to you is, what is your favorite set of roles that James Earl Jones did outside of the Star Wars universe, outside of the role of Darth Vader? Or what was your first exposure to James Earl Jones? Was it through Star Wars or was it through something else like Lauren and I talked about? Let us know, and you can comment on Spotify, you can go to our website, or let us know in any of our social medias. And for our next episode, we're going back to Obi-Wan Kenobi because it's been a hot minute.
It's been too long. Far too long.
Too long. But we're going to take an interesting curve, like a little side journey, if you will, back to the Kenobi series. And we're going to talk about the original ideas from the original director, correct?
Or writer. I don't know if they had a director or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was a writer.
There was an original set idea for the show, and then everything changed and we got what we got. So we're going to go over what was in those original notes, original ideas, plot lines, etc. And basically just talk about Obi-Wan, because that's what we do.
Awesome.
So join us on the next episode.
And last week we talked about our Andor season 2 predictions.
Yes.
And we asked folks what they're most excited for season 2. And Jose Roberto Correa the third said,
yes,
so stoked to have K2SO back this season. I'm especially excited to check back in with Cyril and Deidre. I absolutely hope they end up in some sort of effed up relationship where Cyril projects his mommy issues.
Yes!
And Deidre holds all the power.
Well, I could see if it were to go that direction, I would need both of those things to occur in order for it to be truly believable.
Right? And I responded, can you imagine Cyril bringing Deidre home to meet his mom? Like, what that would be like.
There'd be a lot of stairs across the table.
Yeah, I don't know which would be frostier.
This is true. And Cyril would just be eating his cereal, because that's what cereals do. They eat cereals. Thank you for that comment. It is excellent, and we're super, super excited for K2SO.
Yes, I live for that droid.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us here on the Most Things Kenobi podcast. We appreciate every single one of our patrons and are grateful for your support. If you'd like to support the podcast and become a patron as well, head over to the Most Things Kenobi Patreon. As always, you can follow us on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Threads, and don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast player. If you enjoy our podcast, feel free to rate us on Spotify and Apple. And if you need just one place to find all of these, head over to mostthingskenobi.com.
So until next time, my space twin, may the Force be with you.
Always.